It's the Daily Doug.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. Thanks for being with me today. My friends, today is a Friday and I am feeling up to it, y'all. We're gonna do it. I'm looking at some Radiohead today. I have had COVID for a little over a week and I'm doing okay. I still have some fatigue, but I've been looking forward to listening to some Amnesiac from Radiohead for a while, and I had it scheduled last week and I postponed it, and I just couldn't wait any longer, y'all. So today we're looking at the first half of Amnesiac from Radiohead. This is an album that I have not heard. I do have it. I have a special edition of it, but I've never put this version or this album on the turntable. And we're returning to the music of Radiohead because not too long ago, earlier this year, we heard Kid A here on the channel. And I told y'all, I promised that I was not going to wait too long before returning to Radiohead to get to this follow-up or sort of a companion album to Kid A. And today is the day that we get started. I'm really, really pumped about it. So this is going to be the fourth album that we have looked at by Radiohead here on the channel. We started with OK Computer in the spring of 2023, a wonderful album. So far I think that's my favorite, but I remain open-minded. We then went to The Bends, which we looked at in early 2024, and sadly that one got blocked here on YouTube, but I have made it available on my Patreon. And then, as we said, just this past spring, we listened to all of Kid A, and I was very taken by the musical turn that this band took in going to these sounds that we heard on Kid A. And I think we're going to hear a lot of the same sort of sounds on Amnesiac because these two albums were recorded in the same sessions. They could have done a big double album, but they decided to release these as two separate albums. And because of that, here with Amnesiac, we get a relatively standard album at about 44 minutes over 11 songs. And today, we're going to listen to the first 5 songs on the album. Next week, we'll hear the rest of the album. But for today, we're going to hear Packed Like Sardines in a Crushed Tin Box, Pyramid Song, Pulk, Pool, Revolving Doors, You and Whose Army, and I Might Be Wrong. Those 5. And as I said, I think we can experience or expect to experience some similar sonic textures that we heard a few months ago in Kid A. The influences here are wide-ranging. They range from electronic music to contemporary classical music to jazz and avant-garde, and even some alternative rock and post-rock thrown in there. So I'm very, very interested to dive into this music, and I'm very, very pleased that you are along for the ride. Radiohead is Colin Greenwood, Johnny Greenwood, Ed O'Brien, Philip Selway, and Tom York. They are going to be joined by the Orchestra of St. John's, and then later on the album, next week we'll hear this in a song later on the album, they are joined by the Humphrey Littleton Band. That'll be fun, and I don't know them either, so it's going to be a great amount of discovery here in these 2 episodes. So first up, the first song on the album is called Packed Like Sardines in a Crushed Tin Box, and they've left out a few E's in the spelling of this title, and I don't know if that means anything. But as I read here, we're starting off with an electric inspired song, and we're going to be making use of some synthesizers and some metallic percussion, and I'm looking forward to hearing it. So let's wait no longer. Packed Like Sardines in a Crushed Tin Box. It starts off Amnesiac by Radiohead. Here we go. Okay. It's a gamelan. That's what it reminds me of. Not anymore. Of waiting, nothing came, and your life flashed before your eyes. We're in D. And that really colors it, doesn't it? I'm a reasonable man, get off my case, he says. It sounds like D. Dorian. Got that held note through everything, and then as the scale is built, as it's kind of going down, it's definitely minor, but I think I hear that Dorian sixth in there as well. What is that? It's not your prototypical lead-off song on an album, is it? Isn't it? It sets us up for a completely different listening experience than a standard rock and roll album, right? Get off my case. Fascinating. Just trying to figure out what's happening in the background. That sounded completely electronic to me. They may have recorded into, whatever program that they wanted, but everything sounded manipulated. That's fascinating. I'm a reasonable man, get off my case. Get off my case, get off my case. After years of waiting, nothing came and you realize you're looking in the wrong place. So, what does packed like sardines in a crushed tin box actually mean? They never really say that in the song. Maybe he's referring to people, like we're packed like sardines in a crushed tin box. And either way, he's unfulfilled. He's been waiting, he's been reasonable, he's been looking in the wrong place, and something is not coming to fruition the way that he wanted to. Y'all let me know what's more of the background behind that song. That was fascinating. But I'm going to move ahead to the second tune, and it's Pyramid Song. Now, this is the lead single released from the album, and it was released a few weeks ahead of the album itself. When I told people that I was going to be looking at this album, they're like, "Oh, do you know Pyramid Song?" I'm like, "I don't think so." So I may have heard this once I hear it, I may remember it, but from the read-in and from what I looked at in the lyrics and what I saw, it doesn't ring a bell, friends. And Colin provided some background on this song. He says the inception of the song was when the band was in Copenhagen and Tom went to a museum of culture. And there was an exhibition of Egyptian underworld and tomb art of people being ferried across the river of death. And I don't know exactly what it's called in Egyptian mythology, but he was very affected by it, and he went back and sat behind the piano and wrote it. So here we get a Pyramid Song, and it's by Tom, and I am curious to see what from this song made them think, yeah, we got to put this out as the lead single release from this album. So here is Pyramid Song from Radiohead. Here we go. Okay. Major 1 chord and flat 2. That's May, Ra, Do. Not familiar to me, but that's cool. There's a cross relation in it. F sharp major, G major, and A major. Turns minor, then 7, then Ra, Do, and he's all by himself, and he's almost in a free meter. I keep trying to figure out what meter he's in, and I think he's just being free and coming in and out of a metrical structure. Okay. Implied a compound meter feel for a second. So that's the second phrase. First phrase, major 1, major flat 2, major flat 3, then major 1, minor 1, flat 7, and there's the flat 2. Ferried across, as Colin said, the river of death. nothing to fear and nothing to doubt.
There was nothing to fear, nothing to doubt. There was nothing to fear, nothing to
Beautiful suspensions. It's that tension and release. Sets up at the same note, holds, and then it resolves down back into the chord. Fascinating. Fascinating. You know, all those electric sounds might have been in the song, in the texture, just lower in the texture the whole time. But I was really drawn to the more acoustic stuff in that, the actual drums, the actual piano. His voice had less of an effect put on it, and I really, really enjoyed hearing it. And when I talk about a cross relation, y'all, F sharp major has an A sharp in it. Okay? And if they do F sharp to G, the flat 2, and then to A, the flat 3, by the time we get to the A chord, it's an A against an A sharp that's in the F sharp chord. So that's why I was talking about a cross relation. We're using the major third of the key, but then when we do the 3 chord, we're basing it on a different note, on an A natural instead of an A sharp. It's really, really fascinating. Just pulling between almost equally sounds of the major key and the minor key. And it's all on F sharp the whole time. Just like we were kind of all in D for the first song. Not really much of a progression. And like verse, chorus type thing, but a whole different way of putting together the elements of a song. Fascinating track, y'all. But up next, we're going to go to a song called Pulk, Pull, Revolving Doors. Pulk, P-U-L-K. And I read that this is a sled that is typically pulled by dogs, and then a person has to sit behind them and steer and maneuver the sled, almost like a sleigh, I think. And I read that the backing keyboard loops that we're going to hear on this were originally recorded all the way back in the OK Computer sessions. And it was meant originally for a different song, and it just never really worked out like they wanted. So they ended up coming back to these keyboard loops, and they wrote a new track with it, and it's this track. So let's hear how it sounds. This is going to be Pulk, Pull, Revolving Doors from Radiohead. Here we go. Crazy. That's the avant-garde stuff, the musique concrète stuff coming in.
And there are revolving doors.
That's a crazy sound, y'all. But they keep repeating it, so I'm getting accustomed to it, you know?
Plays on the rudder of big ships. And there are revolving doors. doors that open by themselves.
There are doors that open by themselves, there are sliding doors, and then there are secret
There are
doors.
sliding doors, and there are secret doors.
There are barn doors, there are revolving doors, doors in the rudders of big ships. Okay.
There are doors that lock, and doors that don't.
There are doors that lock and doors that don't.
There are doors that let you in and out, but never open. And there are trapdoors. That you can't come back from.
That you can't come back from. There's trap doors that you can't come back from. So don't fall in the trap. Again, it's like it's based on a static sound, a static chord. It's a sound that I almost can't describe, y'all. It sounds like a living electronic sound that's always morphing. It's the most non-commercial sounding commercial success of an album that I think I've heard in a long time. This was a top 10 album, y'all. And there it goes. That's nuts. Completely electronic. And again, I'm not a big fan of the effect that they have on Tom's voice. These are some very fascinated lyrics, y'all. They're talking about doors. Barn doors, revolving doors, doors in the rudders of big ships, doors that open by themselves, sliding doors, secret doors, doors that lock and doors that don't, doors that let you in and out but never open, and then there are trap doors that you can't come back from. That's the song. 3 little verses. I'm intrigued to learn more about how to avoid the doors that we don't want to get trapped behind or go in. Sometimes we want to stay away from certain doors. Sometimes we want to go through other doors. I want to learn more. That's a fascinating experience, y'all. I'm going to keep going and see where it goes. The next song is called You and Whose Army. And, you know, when I read this, I can't help but think of our good friend Neville Longbottom from Harry Potter. You and Whose Army, right? From the last book and the last movie. That's all I think about. So I'm happy to have a new source for this particular phrase. And this particular song is a politically charged one, as I read in. In an interview in 2001, Tom said that originally it was about the voices in my head that were driving me round the bend, to be honest. And then he laughed a little bit. And then once I came up with that "you and whose army" phrase, I was able to stick other ideas on there, and Blair emerged as the song's real subject matter. That must have been Tony Blair back in the day, right, from the UK. The song's ultimately about someone who is elected into power by people and who then blatantly betrays them, just like Blair did. You know, it's good to know that that doesn't happen anymore in politics, right? I digress. At the same time, he says, I think he couldn't help betraying his country. I think the man's a fool. Tell us how you really think, Tom. Tom says he's just a product of his time, like any important public figure. So he is not happy with the way Tony Blair, in his mind back in the day, is sort of undermining the people that elected him. And he's going to tell us about it, right? And I also read that unlike most of the songs on the album, the majority of this recording actually came from a live take with the full band playing. So I'm going to be very interested to hear what this sounds like. It is a song called You and Whose Army, and it's by Radiohead. Here we go.
Come on, you think you drive me crazy, well, come on.
That's a sequential pattern.
You and his army.
Huh.
You and your
5-1 in a major key.
crony.
That's 3.
Come on, come on, Holy Roman Empire. Come on if you think, come on if you think you can take us all.
Okay.
You can take us all.
2, 5,
You
1.
and his army. You and your cronies.
Beautiful guitar.
You forget so easy.
There's more major chords that don't fit in the same key. Minor 3. There's the 4. It's hard for me to tell what key they're in. There's a 4 to 1. But again, using the minor, the lower third of the key, after they're using the major third of the key in the 1 chord. This is cool. We ride tonight, ghost horses. And it ends in a major key. Not much electronic interference on that one. I think that's my favorite so far. Pyramid Song was really cool, but that's, I think, my favorite so far. You and Whose Army? Come on, you think you drive me crazy? You and Whose Army? You and your cronies. Come on, Holy Roman Empire. Come on if you think you can take us on. Even the Holy Roman Empire, he says, you can't handle us when we all come together and take you on. We ride tonight, ghost horses, even those that are, gone and just with us in spirit. They're behind us, like, don't F around with us. Come on, and that's a worthy response, I think, in his estimation. Of course, this is a product of his time, 25 years ago, and he's seeing in a guy like Tony Blair, somebody who was elected into a position of authority and power, doing things that contradicted the reasons that people voted for him to be in power. And he's like, come on, you're driving me crazy. Come on if you think you can take us on. You and whose army? We got the army. Do better. That's what I hear. Do better. We put our trust in you. Do better in your position of authority. And I would say even today, to those that have been elected to public office, do better. Do better. We deserve it. We deserve it. For sure. Anyway, that was fascinating, y'all. I got one more in this session, and it's called I Might Be Wrong. So even after that, he might be wrong, right? So I read that this one was released as a promotional single with a music video, and I read that this one may be a little bit more guitar forward because it uses a bluesy riff. So I will be interested to hear this one. It is I Might Be Wrong from Radiohead. Here we go. Come in, please. There's a guitar. And then subdued vocals that you can barely understand. I think we're back in D. I used to think there was no future left at all. That bluesy riff could have almost been sampled because it's just repeating and repeating and repeating. There it changes. That is 4 to 1. Making some noise down there. Tom's got such a haunting vocal color. It's one that you just can't not pay attention to. again, a whole different way of arranging music. It's not like verse chorus in the standpoint of different progressions and different sounds and contrasting ideas. These are almost monothematic. The 4, 1, down to the 6, down to the 4, and then to 1. And boy, they color those resolutions, don't they? It's the most overt progression that I've heard in all of these 5 songs. And that's it. That is it. You know, we're halfway through the album and I feel like I'm barely still getting started. It's like we're scratching the surface, y'all. That music is so unique. And so interesting. I don't know of any other bands that have been able to release music that's that commercially successful, that's that avant-garde sounding, at least in the 21st century. You know, I think back to the 60s and the 70s when there was a lot of room for exploration, for pushing the boundaries. What can we record? What can we do? How can we manipulate things? How loud can it be? How long can it be? What types of sounds can we do? How can we manipulate them? Our pedals and our effects and all that sort of stuff. And you come up with these amazing pieces of fusion back in the day. And then we kind of get into the rock and roll machine, and there's a lot of people that are in their lanes, and those that are doing some of these avant-garde and more out there pieces tend to be less well known, less ubiquitous. But this was a top 10 record around the world, y'all. And I think it's on the backs of the credibility that this band had already established for themselves with their past work. And people are like, we want to hear where they're going next, even if it's extremely odd and different and something that we've never heard. We're in, and we trust these musicians. Fascinating. In this last piece, I might be wrong. I could have sworn I saw a light coming on. I used to think there was no future left at all. Sometimes I think that way, friends. It's been a tough several months, hasn't it? Things seem to be going a way that I really don't like, and I'm worried about the future daily. But then they say, open up, begin again. Okay? And then in the chorus they say, let's go down to the waterfall and think about the good times and never look back. And I can appreciate that. The next chorus that comes, it's let's go down to the waterfall, have ourselves a good time. It's nothing at all. The waterfall. Y'all, if there's anything that provides me peace, it's in out there in nature. I mean, when you're in a funk, kind of all of it can. The feeling the wind on your face, feeling the sunlight on your face, feeling water moving, being at a river or a creek, or just being in nature and the smells and everything, it can help reset you. It can help you begin again. right? And there's nothing that resets me like going to a creek or a river or some sort of moving water and just being still and letting the water move past. It really does help me. So going to a waterfall is especially one of these ways that is helpful to me. It just makes you feel good, right? Let's go down to the waterfall, have ourselves a good time, and never look back. Yeah, yeah, I would want that too. I would want that too. It's good to be reminded of how we can get around all of those invasive and troubling thoughts and just these difficulties that we work through in life and then in our society and in our orbit and all that sort of stuff. Sometimes we need a good reset, and getting out in nature can do that. That's wonderful, friends. Those are amazing, amazing pieces. It's an interesting listen. I think I like the last two that I heard the best. You and Whose Army and I Might Be Wrong. But all of them really kind of fit together like a good album should. You know, they just kind of work one to the other, and they're taking you on a journey. This was a very eclectic and strange musical journey, but I really, really have enjoyed it so far. So next Friday is the day that I'm going to finish this up, y'all. We'll get to the last 6 tunes on the album. There's 11 overall. We did 5 today, so the last 6 include Knives Out, and then Morning Bell / Amnesiac, which I guess is going to be kind of a title track. Dollars and Cents, Hunting Bears, Like Spinning Plates, and Life in a Glass House. And that last one, Life in a Glass House, is where they're going to have that guest ensemble appearing with them. And again, I don't know any of these, so it's a big learning experience for me, and it's fascinating, y'all. I don't know how exactly I feel and how exactly or what exactly I think about it all. It's so different and it's so new. I need to spend some more time with it. But I admire just how unique and unlike anything else this sounds like. And, you know, in a time, especially late 90s, early 2000s, you know, it's, they're choosing to not be the rock stars that they could have been. They're choosing to be artists centered and connected to the world. And I have a lot of respect for that. A lot of respect for that. And I can't wait to get to the rest of the songs next week, but I think that I am, and I'm going to rest today. You know, I have had COVID for a while, and I'm feeling a little run down now, but I made it through, and I feel pretty good. So I'm happy to come back to listen to some new music to me with all of y'all, and to do it on a Masterpiece Friday. A lot of fun, and I'm definitely looking forward to next week, next Friday, when we get back to Radiohead and the rest of this album. But that's going to be all for me today and this week, my friends. I thank you very much for being with me, and we will see you next time on another edition of The Daily Doug.
It's the Daily Doug. Welcome to the Daily Doug. The Daily